Hi, folks, welcome back. So, properly excited today. Brand new band on the channel, and this is a band name that's been on my radar for a while, and I've purposefully stayed away from checking the band out so that I could do this, which was to listen to their music for the first time on camera. So, we're with Sleep Token today, and the request is for The Summoning. So, I would have had to been living under a rock to not have heard of Sleep Token. I've heard them sort of the name banded about, probably on Instagram, Facebook, maybe just in YouTube comments. I don't know. Yeah, and actually, one close friend told me months and months and months ago that you should listen to Sleep Token, and I kind of felt a bit bad because I was like, yeah, I will, but I'm going to save it. And he was like, yeah, you weirdo or whatever, and he's right. But otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I hope to live up to the hype because there's definitely been a lot of hype around this band. And I can see already, even just on this one song, 19 million views from a year ago. So yeah, I can say genuinely I've not heard a single note from these guys. I kind of have a rough idea of what I'm going to expect just because of what I've read. And it's not through any intentional research. It's just been from scrolling and seeing some stuff. And actually, the person who's asked me to request to this has given me a little bit of background. Normally, I don't look at any sort of background with a new band, so I can give as much of an unbiased reaction as possible. So I guess I've got a little bit of something to go on here, but it is quite minimal, so should be fine. Anyway, that's usually the format. Actually, the full format of this video is it will be a reaction, listen to the song in totality without any interruptions, and then I'll go back through it and we'll maybe break it down or have a chat about what's going on musically within it. For viewers of the channel for the first time, my day job is a classical piano teacher. I've been doing that for 20 odd years. I teach online now instead of when I used to in the music school. Do everything now on my own, and I'm also like a multi-instrumentalist, I guess, which sounds a bit pretentious, but I do have my own music out and I play and record it all myself. So if you're curious about that, you could possibly check out some of my own music as well. And I've done tons of these sort of analysis videos, so have a little dig around the channel there. You might find some other things that could be of interest to you. But yeah, anyway, so the request has come through, and here's the little blurb, a little bit of information I've got. Their latest album is called Take Me Back to Eden. This is where I discovered them after listening to this entire album, which I feel we can agree is rare. When an artist gives you great music from every track, that is rare. I would like you to start with their first single from that album, The Summoning. They have a visualized video, right? So that's what this is going to be. I truly do look forward to your honest reaction. Well, I will be honest, so hopefully it lives up to your expectations. A little about the band. From England, not that far from me, just a quick ferry across the Irish Sea there. They cross many genres, including jazz, R&B, pop, arena rock, funk, metal, etc. So already, yeah, I'm kind of expecting very eccentric kind of stuff, which is right up my street. They are anonymous. The singer goes by the name Vessel, and the drummer is 2, bass is 3, and guitarist is 4. Nice. They do have 3 female backup singers. Please leave me anonymous as well if you share this as a Patreon request. So I don't know whether that's all because of the Sleep Token thing or not, but it's actually quite cool that the band are obviously anonymous and the request has come through for someone who wishes to remain anonymous. Nice one. I really hope you release this on YouTube. I will release it on YouTube, although if you're seeing this on YouTube, it's probably being at least a month, could be a little while since it's been on my Patreon. So if you want quicker access to videos, want to support what I do, and want to put in your own requests, the link for Patreon's below. So thank you to everybody who does support the channel. This band needs more exposure. I will share my second request at a later time. I already know it. It's a second Sleep Token request. So yeah, this is my first Sleep Token, but you're going to get another Sleep Token coming pretty soon after this. In fact, I'll be filming it directly after this video. So here we go. But this is the order we're going in because this is the order it's been requested. So The Summoning first, right? Without further ado, let's get going.
mistake you for a sign from God? Or are you really here to cut me off? Or maybe just to turn me on? 'Cause these days I would be lying if I told you that I didn't wish that I could be your man. Or maybe make a good girl bad. I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail, red and the blue. Something you say or something you do. The taste of the divine. You got my body, flesh and bone. The sky above, the earth below. Nothing to say, I know where to go. A taste of the divine.
Wow. You might have seen at the very end there, I just checked the timestamp because I had been looking away from the screen occasionally. I'm just checking we hadn't moved on to another song there. That last part really did sound like a second song. Wow. Excuse me. Where do we start with this? Amazing, huge production. Heavier than I was expecting. For the most part. I don't know why. I wasn't sure what to expect, of course, but I knew because I'd read about the sort of varying genres and stuff like that. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more schizophrenic, I guess, which maybe some of their other songs are. I don't know, but it seemed to sit in the sort of in the styles. It sat sort of more comfortably than I was expecting it until the huge shift in the second half. So that was interesting. Yeah, definitely. What have we got? 8 strings involved, maybe on the guitars, or certainly at least 7 strings, I would say. Very detuned, very heavy. Incredibly impressive drumming. Very versatile vocals. Yeah, it sounded like a different singer at the end. I like could detect some of the female vocals high up in the textures in the background, and they were blending well. I mean, I guess it could be the male vocalist falsetto away up there. I don't know, but it certainly had the timbre of it sounded sort of female to me. Something that was sort of really prominent for me in the sort of style of it was the way that the sort of phrases begin to the middle to the end and then repeat. So if you kind of think of the way we would have, say maybe 8 bars. Not necessarily this, but just say like in a generic sense, you'd have 8 bars of musical information, and then after that it would start to repeat, or the second phrase would be the same length, and it would be something, the second half of that phrase, if you like. What it seemed to be happening was there was a sense that that things were changing. Just I had a feeling that things were changing, but they didn't change when they did, and the sort of the drums and the fills and stuff like that would exceed that. So say we had 4 bars or 8, say 4 in this case. That on the 5th bar, that would be the change, right? So change. It kind of felt like when that change was there, something did change, but the rest of the musical information kind of went on for like an extra bar, and then the next time it would be like 2 bars over. It felt like there was overlapping of the sort of rhythmic information and stuff like that from the drums, the guitars, and the bass, that they didn't all sort of after the 4 bars reset, if you know what I mean. It's like the structure seemed to be resetting in that period in sort of like an equal measure, but the music was sort of overlapping and would be and so the next time it would come around, it would be delayed even further. Now, when I re-listened to this, maybe I'm off on that, but that was the impression I got anyway, listening to it the first time through. which I've heard other artists doing, but it's not very frequent. That the first person it makes me think of is Steve Reich, the composer, where he would have loops, looping effects going over, and as time goes on, the loops, that they don't reset in the same place every time. It's sort of extended or whatever. I'll see through the second time whether I can sort of explain that any better. If I'm able to sort of clarify what I mean, but hopefully, you understand what I'm trying to say there. It's not easy information to convey because musically it was quite odd. It's not commonplace. Even though we've got certain elements like the big chorus and stuff, there's definitely familiar territory with sort of other bands. I'm like, it's not that I would say it sounds like this band or sounds like that band, but it doesn't sound completely isolated, like it was created in a vacuum. Because we don't create in vacuums, do we? As musicians, we're influenced by the other musicians around us, whether that be Bach or Björk. It could be anybody. But it all seeps through into our own style. So very industrial. Some of the sounds being used, some of the guitar sounds and the drums, put me a little bit in mind of some of the older Rammstein albums. There's something very, very, heavily industrial sounding behind it, but also got like a sheen of polish, not like totally raw. So very interesting stuff. Anyway, yes, we will go back and have a chat about some of this stuff, but that's my first thoughts to the first Sleep Token song. So there you go. Finally made it. I finally got here. So yeah, let's go back. Please consider taking a moment to check out my other channel, JW Soundworks, where you will find unique cover song performances, newly composed piano arrangements, and all of my self-composed original music. Okay, cool, right. Face melting straight from the off, more or less. See these ambient textures? They're things that are very easily overlooked. It's a little bit like whenever you're watching a film, the sound effects and things that are in there to contribute to the emotions that you're feeling when you're watching a scene or whatever. I love bands that use that, like ambience and effects and textures in their music, to create. I've used this word a lot, but a cinematic sort of feeling, and we've got that. It's very immersive. The song could have just came in straight in there with a full band, actually settling, but actually setting this sort of unsettling scene at the beginning. Also with the panning, you can, certainly with headphones on anyway, you can hear it moving sort of between left and right, to give us sort of maybe a disorientation. Wow. So like 2 introductions, ambient introduction and a heavy face melting stuff. It's so low. It's down to F. So I mean, if a standard guitar is tuned to E, it's nearly a full octave below that. I did have an 8-string a few years ago. I sold it. I wrote some riffs and music on it. They ended up actually sort of translating it back to 8-string. So we've got that note, but an octave lower, which I can kind of mock a little bit with the drop pedal. You know, so it can be done without an 8-string or whatever, but it's more likely that they're using probably an 8-string, I don't know. We've also got this sort of dum dum bum 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 syncopated kind of rhythmic stuff happening across the beat. There's a lot in that introduction there, and I like the sort of, it's a little triplet feel in there as well. Obviously up to the octave, back down again.
I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail red in the blue.
It sounds like underneath the lead vocal we've got sort of like a tamer version of that. Something like that's going to be difficult with a drop pedal to try and figure this out. They're actually going lower than that, F. So I don't think they are tuned to F. I think they're tuned lower than that, because you can hear if it's F, goes down to E flat. So in order to access that E flat, the guitar would have to be down even further. So they're at least in E flat, which would mean that they're playing, what's that, on the 2nd fret of the guitar, you know, so they'll be playing there. I can do that, but I can't get low enough. So, down, da 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 da. But anyway, to hear that, we've got that moving on again. It's more palm muted, less gain, and then the vocals are coming in instead. So same thematic kind of material.
Running right into you. I've got a blood trail red in the blue. Something you say.
There's that thing. So do you hear when the vocals are restarting? Da 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 da. Approximately that kind of pattern that's restarting. It's like the instrumentation is not restarting with it. It's going beyond. And so we're getting this delayed effect. It does catch up again near the end, doesn't it? So the structure seems to be in keeping with the vocal. Whatever the stanza is of the lyrics, that's when it's going to end. But musically, it's not resetting at the same time as each vocal line. It's actually bleeding across and being delayed. Or am I going crazy? I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. So you see?
Something you do, a taste of the divine. You got my body.
See? So when the vocals start, the music still hasn't finished. So the new phrase starts and the musical phrase is behind it.
You got my body, flesh and bone, yeah. The sky above, the earth below.
Amazing. Everybody back in now. Down to B flat minor. Right, what is the chord progression here? Let's figure it out. think that was it. So B flat minor to D flat major, which is the relative major, and then G flat major. Now, of course, you could call all of this sharps if you wanted to. You'd say it was A sharp minor as opposed to B flat minor. But certainly I'm primarily a pianist that studied classically. You would see pieces in B flat minor a lot more than you would in A sharp minor. So that's kind of what I would be in my default mind. Was there another chord being used, or is it just those three? And that's such a hooky chorus. Whoa. That's ridiculous. That's really, really cool production stuff going on there. Drops out. Different tone. It's funny now, I obviously don't know the context or anything, but the image on the screen of the huge sort of gargantuan, if you like, I'm getting that in the music. It's almost like one of these big sort of like trolls or Goliath, like a big army or something marching, you know. It's got this huge weight, massive weight in the production. That snare sounds like it's being layered a lot. I don't know. Heavy. Obviously, can take things different ways. The little sort of glitchy kind of noises in between to me kind of sound like humor. You know, it's like a humorous aspect of it because it's very dark and threatening and sinister sounding. And those little sounds in between, I don't know, maybe you could maybe attribute them to that as well. But to my ear, that would be sort of, if there's like a tongue-in-cheek sense of humor within the band, that it's kind of coming out via that. I don't know. I'm just talking sort of emotionally. Obviously, technically, it could be just a case. You know, you heard that stuff being done in like dubstep and all that, like, you know, years ago, where you have these. What is it? Dubstep? What do you call this stuff that Skrillex did? Is it dubstep? I can't even remember what that stuff was called. But you get the all that kind of. Yeah, it was kind of like a genre at the time. You don't hear it so much these days, I guess. It is dubstep. I'm gonna have to look this up, although the comment section will probably already have been on fire going, what are you talking about, dubstep? Well, actually, looking up Skrillex, dubstep is mentioned, so maybe it is that. But yeah, there's obviously lots of other bands use that kind of thing to effect now, like with heavier bands. The French band Igor, you get that coming through from time to time. They do it really, really well. This sort of craziness. It's obviously very genty as well. Like you do get, it's hard to not mention somebody like Meshuggah when you get the. Obviously, it sounds better when it's tuned properly and it doesn't have reverb. You know, I'm trying my best here, but I'm up here. Let's go back down again. Anyway, yeah, my 8 string's gone, so I got to pretend. Whispered vocals. Is that ambient textures in the background again? That's definitely happening there. Every time it starts again, band catching up afterwards. Intentionally, of course. Like, I guess, all right. You know, with the solo, there's definitely elements of jazz and stuff there, not just because of the piano, of course, but the style of the piano in the background behind it. Not so much in the harmony, maybe. There's definitely hear it landing on sort of fourths to the third. If you're passionate about piano, whether as a player or listener, or if you're considering online lessons or masterclasses, please visit my YouTube channel, John Wilson Online Piano Lessons. There you'll discover a wealth of piano performances with many more to come. Based on demand, I'll also be introducing video tutorials for piano pieces. Thank you. Actually, the tone on the guitar is really interesting too. Very thick texture with whatever effects are on it. Wow. That's a huge sound. What I really love about that is, I mean, of course, the performance of the drummer is incredible. If you think about it, that single note that we're just getting, yeah, so we're still on the F. So melodically, we're not getting an awful lot. The drummer's being really super creative around that, you know, so we can follow it, even though it's groovy. But if you listen to the way the drums are mixed, you're getting the cymbals and different things. Of course, it's common anyway for drums to be mixed like that. You know, you can either mix it from the drummer's point of view. So if you're sort of like here, that I have a hit a tom there, that, you know, instead of it being center, right down the middle, you know, it could be panned there, you know. And then if your floor toms are over here, something that's further away on this side, then it's further mixed over on this side. Another perspective is to mix it as if you're in front of the band, so you're at this, you know, you're in the audience. So it's a mirror image of the drummer, you know. So if the drummer hits the low tom on his right, if he's right-handed, then that would be over on the left. So it would be in our left ear, you know. I'm pretty sure I remember reading something about Van Halen, doing that wherever Eddie's guitar was, it would be the same place as if you were watching Van Halen and his amplifier, he was always stage left, wasn't he? So I think of that. Yeah, anytime I remember seeing Van Halen looking at the stage there over, he would be on the right. So his guitar sound would be coming primarily from there. Of course, now when you mix it up through the PA, it can do that. But certainly in the old school kind of ways, where the sound would be coming from the amp, it would be coming from over there. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that the way the drums are mixed, where the cymbals are hit and everything like that, it's incredibly immersive. You've even got this dun, 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 straight down the middle. The drums are kind of swirling around us. And although it's kind of doing that all the time in different mixes of all different songs, for some reason at this point in this song, that thought has really come to me. And I'm sure that's not accidental in the mixing process and even the composition. like that wee bit interlude as well. So ba bum 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 ba bum 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 ba dum bum ba dum. Behind the beat, love it. Really, really groovy. The syncopation always adds to the groove, but actually the way the band pull out on the first beat, on the downbeat, da dun dun dun, it's really effective. Curious to know what synth that is. I don't know whether it's a plugin. Is it something in the box? Anybody able to say whether that's like Omnisphere or something else? I do have Omnisphere, and I don't remember coming across anything like that. But of course, you can program your own. I don't know if it's hardware synths. They've actually got synthesizers, and there's been no. I don't know how it comes through, but there's something about the tone of the synth puts me in mind a little bit of the Sega Mega Drive for some reason, or the Genesis if you're in America. There's something, it doesn't sound exactly like it at all, but something the way it's moving reminds me a little bit of that, not only old video game music, but that kind of tone. The wave, there's something about the sound wave, it's very aggressive. There's a detuning going on as well, so it could be layered. Detuning by sense, it sounds to my ears. It's not just a single note in pitch. I guess I could possibly use the guitar to maybe try and convey what I'm talking about, because I can't do it on the piano. But say you've got this note. Do you hear that note? That's great, isn't it? This note that can be played in two places, right? So say there's E. I can play it here. So you wouldn't do this on the guitar, but just for the purposes of what I'm trying to say, that if you have that note, if you have an extra layer playing the same note, but it's like even detuned just that much, and you put them together, if I can stretch that, you hear a slight detune. One's in pitch, the other one's slightly above it. I'm hearing that, maybe not even as extreme as that, because when you go within sense as opposed to like a full semitone or whatever, it could be very, very minimal, but you get like a chorus kind of effect on that. I'll just check my camera here in case I hit the limit. I don't want to run out and that stops recording, so I'll reset it. Okay, so moving on again then. These sort of portamento glides. Hear that? You're moving from one note to the next, it's gliding. We call that portamento. Ethereal stuff all around the back. There's the rhythm, piano. That's a nice chord. Unusual unresolved chords, unusual root notes. It's a very unusual synth patch, I love it. Yeah, you can hear rhythmic information. It's melodic though. Oh yes.
Did I mistake you for a sign from God? Or are you really here to cut me off? Or maybe just to turn me on? 'Cause these days I would be lying if I told you that I didn't wish that I could be your man, or maybe make a good girl bad.
It's really cool. So I think I've got the riff. Sorry for playing over it, you guys, but yeah, I'm trying to break it down. So in B flat minor, it's down to E flat minor, and then down to D flat, and then it rises up through the semitones. walking bass pattern up to F, and then that sends us back to the B flat. I love the space in that. Do you hear the gaps between?
I didn't wish that I could be your man. Or maybe
Even the drums are back up way out, nearly completely, but the hi-hat.
I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail red in the blue.
If I didn't read the information about the band being from England, I would have at least guessed that the singer was English. You can really hear the English accent coming through in the vocal at this point.
I've got a blood trail red in the blue. Something you say or something you do. The taste of the divine.
It's really bluesy.
On my body, flesh and bone. This guy
So with the synths, you're getting real 70s, almost Stevie Wonder, R&B kind of stuff there. Very bluesy vocals, huge modern production. So what's not to love?
body, flesh and bone. The sky above, the earth below. Nothing to say, I know where to go.
The backing vocals layered in there as well.
Of the divine.
Do you know, it's also interesting there, I noticed that in recommended videos, Brit pop bangers, the picture of Liam Gallagher there as well. So there's another little clue that the band, they're like on their own page, not only that they're actually promoting other artists. That's cool, like, isn't it? Obviously they're sending you there. It's like, get it yourself into the Brit pop. I wonder if the band are anywhere close in age to me, because obviously this stuff can be discovered later, but I certainly grew up through the Britpop thing in the 90s, with bands like Oasis and Blur and The Verve and all that. And although it wouldn't have been the stuff that I listened to a lot, I mean, that you couldn't have got away from it back then. It was everywhere. I still enjoy some of it or whatever, but although they kind of got linked in with it a little bit, bands like Oasis, or not Oasis, sorry, Radiohead and Muse, I never really considered them like that, but they would have been my choice. I've been far more into Radiohead and Muse, or Manic Street Preachers, you know. They would have been a little bit more Britpop, I guess. But their older albums are superb, and then they kind of went, oh, I'm getting onto a tangent here, I'm going to offend people, but after, what do you call that? What do you call that song? If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. From what I would say, that was their last good album, like, but yeah, the Holy Bible is where it's at. That's a superb album. But anyway, yeah, there we go. Isn't that weird that that's there? That's not just coming up as a recommended. Sleep Token have put that on their video to send you to a Britpop. Amazing. That's amazing. So, brilliant. Anyway, listen, it's not going to be very long before you get another one, because, yeah, I've got to film this today. So, not long after I press stop, I'll be going straight into my second Sleep Token song. So, I wonder what that has in store for me. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoy the channel, please do like and subscribe. Consider supporting the channel as well. So, good stuff. See you later.